She breathes and bleeds like a human, yet official records confirm she was never actually born. If this living weapon wakes up, the strings of a global dictatorship will snap in a single night. In this video, we expose the terrifying truth behind the doll who cut her strings to find a soul. Forged in the sterile cold of a lab, she was designed to be a spare vessel for a decaying king. This is the story of the killer bee, a puppet who stained her hands with blood to become human. Welcome back to the shadows of Shadaloo, where history is written in blood and erased by power. Before we descend into the abyss, tell me where you are fighting from in the comments below. Send a prayer to your fellow viewers, for we are all fighting invisible battles in the dark. Destroy that like button if you seek the truth, and ring the bell to join our ranks today. Now, let us dial back the clock to a time when rebellion was just a whisper in the cold wind. We are unraveling the tragedy of Cammy White, a soldier whose past was stolen by a madman. But be warned, the official records are full of gaps that suggest a much darker conspiracy. There is a specific date missing from the archives, a silence that screams of a vast cover-up. Let us walk through the fog of war to find the triumph hidden within her shattered memories. Bison was a force of nature, but his psychopower was a poison slowly eating his own flesh. He needed a contingency plan, a genetic echo crafted to be the perfect host for his dark soul. Enter the killer bee, a lethal clone devoid of mercy, designed only to serve the dictator. But the human spirit is stubborn, and cracks began to fracture her absolute programming. During a mission, the fog of brainwashing thinned to reveal the true horror of her existence. In a moment of supreme defiance, she turned her stinger on her master with calculated rage. She nearly ended him, but his failsafes were absolute, crushing her rebellion with lightning. Her mind was wiped clean and the shackles retightened, forcing her back into a deep slumber. Yet, if the mind forgets, does the body remember the trauma of being groomed for possession? Sent to assassinate a yoga master in India, she found clarity instead of a target to kill. Dalsum pierced the veil of Bison's control, granting her the vision to see the burning truth. She returned to Shadaloo to burn it down, but the narcissistic Vega stood guarding the gate. He saw a fragile doll to discard, but she answered with a cannon drill that humbled his pride. Storming the base, she found 12 sisters, the dolls, enslaved exactly as she had been. She fought to liberate them, not to kill, but the crumbling base turned into a tragic tomb. As Bison's form dissipated, the walls fell, burying her beneath the rubble of her past. She could not save them all, and the weight of that failure crushed harder than the stone. Pulled from the wreckage by Vega himself, she was saved by the enemy she swore to destroy. She awoke in the UK with her memories locked behind a wall of impenetrable cold amnesia. Delta Red gave her a name and a life, unaware they harbored a weapon of mass destruction. She found peace with cats and comrades, but the past is a ghost that refuses to stay buried. When the tournament began, a familiar darkness stirred, drawing her like a moth to the flame. The reunion with Bison tore the veil away, flooding her mind with blood and genetic guilt. She realized she was his clone, a monster in human skin, unworthy of the badge she wore. But Delta Red saw the woman, not the weapon, and stood by her when the world turned away. She steeled her heart, accepting that while her blood was cursed, her spirit was her own. The twist was not her origin, but the realization that her existence was his greatest fear. Shadaloo had fallen, but the Hydra grew new heads, birthing S.I.N. and a new era of pain. Cammy's mission shifted from vengeance to rescue, knowing her sisters were still out there. But the shadows held a new predator, Juri Han, a chaotic force with a feng shui engine eye. Juri hunted the dolls for sport, turning the rescue mission into a desperate race against time. Cammy tracked the signals to a secret facility, always arriving 1 second too late to save them. The devastation was absolute, finding Chun-Li battered and broken by Juri's sadistic power. They located the transport jet, witnessing the dolls being loaded like cargo for slaughter. The scene was heartbreaking, a sterile assembly line processing human lives for their energy. Cammy threw herself into the fray, her body moving faster than thought to stop the takeoff. Desperation fueled every strike, her knuckles bleeding as she fought to grab just one hand. She managed to pull Juni from the brink, shielding her from the chaos of the engine's roar. But the jet doors slammed shut on the others, sealing them inside a metal coffin of despair. She watched helpless as her sisters were taken into the clouds, their blank stares haunting her. It was a victory that tasted like ash, a rescue that felt more like a deepening wound. Standing on the runway, she realized that saving one meant condemning the others to hell. The silence left behind was louder than the jet engines, screaming how limited power. She looked at her own hands, wondering if they were designed to save or only to destroy. Juri's laughter seemed to echo in the wind, a reminder that the game was far from over. The enemy was no longer just a dictator, but the cruelty inherent in the world itself. And somewhere in the dark sky, the remaining dolls were waking up to a new nightmare.
The nightmare deepened when she came face to face with Decapre, a jagged shard of herself. Decapre was a failed experiment, wearing a mask to hide burns, fueled by a hatred for Cammy. They clashed, sister against sister, spiral arrow meeting psycho dagger in a dance of death. But as the battle raged, Cammy realized the terrifying truth beneath the mask and the rage. Decapre was dying, her body unable to contain the unstable psychopower burning her alive. In a twist that tore her heart, only Bison possessed the technology to stabilize her. To save her sister's life, Cammy had to make the unthinkable choice, to let the devil win. She watched Shadaloo forces carry Decapre away, trading freedom for her sister's survival. The door to hell closed again, and this time Cammy was the one who handed over the key. The final hour arrived with the black moons, threatening to plunge the world into darkness. Operation Chains began, and Cammy joined the greatest warriors for a crescendo of war. She fought through waves of soldiers, her eyes fixed on the control room and her sisters. She faced Vega one last time, silencing his narcissism with the precision of a master. The true victory was not in the fight, but in breaking the mind control holding Decapre. With help, the psychopower faded, and the sisters stood united against their creator. Above them, Ryu delivered the final blow, obliterating Bison and his legacy of corruption. The base crumbled and the moons deactivated, leaving the dictator dead in the ruins. The puppet master was gone, but the scars on their minds were permanent maps of survival. The war is over, but the soldier never leaves the battlefield. She finds a new thing to love. Cammy White's journey from a mindless clone to a champion is a testament to the human soul. She proved that our origins do not define us, but our choices paint the canvas of our lives. The scars of the past remain as fading silver lines, telling a brutal story of survival. But the future is now a blank horizon, waiting for her to fill it with her own colors. What becomes of the killer bee now that there is no one left to sting in this new world? That is a mystery for another day, as she learns to live without a mission to guide her. Thank you for walking this path. If this story moved you, you know exactly what to do. Until the next round begins, remember that even a weapon can learn how to heal a heart.